The Calm Man by Frank Belknap Long. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Reading by Greg Marguerite. The Calm Man by Frank Belknap Long. Sally watched the molten gold glow in the sky, then knew she would not see her son and her husband ever again on Earth. Sally Anders had never really thought of herself as a wallflower. A girl could be shy, couldn't she, and still be pretty enough to attract and hold men? Only this morning she had drawn an admiring look from the milkman, and a wolf cry from Jimmy on the corner, with his newspapers and shiny new bike. What if the milkman was crowding 60 and wore thick-lensed glasses? What if Jimmy was only 17? A male was a male, and a glance was a glance. Why, if I just primp a little more, Sally told herself, I'll be irresistible. Hair ribbons and perfume, a mirror tilted at just the right angle, an invitation to a party on the dresser. What more did a girl need? "Dinner, Sally," came echoing up from the kitchen. "Do you want to be late, child?" Sally had no intention of being late. Tonight she'd see him across a crowded room, and her heart would skip a beat. He'd look at her and smile, and come straight toward her with his shoulders squared. There was always one night in a girl's life that stands above all other nights, one night when the moon shone bright and clear and the clock on the wall went tick-tock, tick-tock, tick-tock. One night when each tick said, "You're beautiful, really beautiful." Giving her hair a final pat, Sally smiled at herself in the mirror. In the bathroom the water was still running, and the perfumed bath soap still spread its aromatic sweet odor through the room. Sally went into the bathroom and turned off the tap before going downstairs to the kitchen. "My girl looks radiant tonight," Uncle Ben said, smiling at her over his corned beef and cabbage. Sally blushed and lowered her eyes. "Ben, you're making her nervous," Sally's mother said, laughing. Sally looked up and met her uncle's stare, her eyes defiant. "I'm not bad-looking, whatever you may think," she said. "Oh, now, Sally," Uncle Ben protested. "No sense in getting on a high horse. Tonight you may find a man who just won't be able to resist you." "Maybe I will and maybe I won't," Sally said. "You'd be surprised if I did, wouldn't you?" It was Uncle Ben's turn to lower his eyes. "I'll tell the world you've inherited your mother's looks, Sally," he said. "But a man has to pride himself on something. My defects of character are pretty bad, but no one has ever accused me of dishonesty." Sally folded her napkin and rose stiffly from the table. "Good night, Uncle," she said. When Sally arrived at the party, every foot of floor space was taken up by dancing couples, and the reception room was so crowded that, as each new guest was announced, a little ripple of displeasure went through the men in midnight blue and the women in Nile green and lavender. For a moment Sally did not move, just stood staring at the dancing couples, half hidden by one of the potted palms that framed the sides of the long room. Moonlight silvered her hair and touched her white throat and arms with a caress so gentle that simply by closing her eyes she could fancy herself already in his arms. Moonlight from tall windows flooding down, turning the dancing guests into pirouetting ghosts in diaphanous blue and green, scarlet and gold. "Close your eyes, Sally, close them tight. Now open them. That's it, slowly, slowly." He came out of nothingness into the light and was right beside her suddenly. He was tall, but not too tall. His face was tanned mahogany brown, and his eyes were clear and very bright, and he stood there looking at her steadily until her mouth opened and a little gasp flew out. He took her into his arms without a word, and they started to dance. They were still dancing when he asked her to be his wife. "You'll marry me, of course," he said. "We haven't too much time. The years go by so swiftly, like great white birds at sea." They were very close when he asked her, but he made no attempt to kiss her. They went right on dancing, and while he waited for her answer he talked about the moon. "When the lights go out and the music stops, the moon will remain," he said. "It raises tides on the earth. It inflames the minds and hearts of men. There are cyclic rhythms which would set a stone to dreaming and desiring on a night such as this." He stopped dancing abruptly and looked at her with calm assurance. "You will marry me, won't you?" he asked. "Allowing for a reasonable margin of error, I seriously doubt if I could be happy with any of these other women. I was attracted to you the instant I saw you." A girl who has never been asked before, who has drawn only one lone wolf cry from a newsboy, could hardly be expected to resist such an offer. Don't resist, Sally. He's strong and tall and extremely good-looking. He knows what he wants and makes up his mind quickly. Surely a man so resolute must make enough money to support a wife." "Yes," Sally breathed, snuggling close to him. "Oh, yes." She paused a moment, then said, "You may kiss me now if you wish, my darling." He straightened and frowned a little and looked away quickly. "That can wait," he said. They were married a week later and went on to live on an elm-shaded street just 5 blocks from where Sally was born. The cottage was small, white, and attractively decorated inside and out, but Sally changed the curtains, as all women must, and bought some new furniture on the installment plan. The neighbors were friendly folk who knew her husband as Mr. James Rand, an energetic young insurance broker who would certainly carve a wider swath for himself in his chosen profession now that he had so charming a wife. 10 months later the first baby came. Lying beneath cool white sheets in the hospital, Sally looked at the other women and felt so deliriously happy she wanted to cry. It was a beautiful baby, and it cuddled close to her heart, its smallness a miracle in itself. The other husbands came in and sat beside their wives, holding on tight to their happiness. There were flowers and smiles, whispers that explored bright new worlds of tenderness and rejoicing. Out in the corridor the husbands congratulated one another and came in smelling of cigar smoke. "Have a cigar. That's right. 8 pounds at birth. That's unusual, isn't it? Brightest kid you ever saw. Knew his old man right off." He was beside her suddenly, standing straight and still in the shadows. "Oh, darling," she whispered, "why did you wait? It's been 3 whole days." "3 days?" he asked, leaning forward to stare down at his son. "Really? Didn't seem that long." "Where were you? You didn't even phone." "Sometimes it's difficult to phone," he said slowly, as if measuring his words. "You have given me a son. That pleases me very much." A coldness touched her heart, and a despair took hold of her. "It pleases you? Is that all you can say? You stand there looking at me as if I were a patient." "A patient?" His expression grew quizzical. "Just what do you mean, Sally?" "You said you were pleased. If a patient is ill, her doctor hopes that she will get well. He is pleased when she does. If a woman has a baby, a doctor will say, 'I'm so pleased. The baby is doing fine. You don't have to worry about him. I've put him on the scales, and he's a bouncing, healthy boy.'" "Medicine is a sane and wise profession," Sally's husband said. "When I look at my son, that is exactly what I would say to the mother of my son. He is healthy and strong. You have pleased me, Sally." He bent as he spoke and picked Sally's son up. He held the infant in the crook of his arm, smiling down at it. "A healthy male child," he said. "His hair will come in thick and black. Soon he will speak, will know that I am his father." He ran his palm over the baby's smooth head, opened its mouth gently with his forefinger, and looked inside. Sally rose on one elbow, her tormented eyes searching his face. "He's your child, your son," she sobbed. "A woman has a child, and her husband comes and puts his arms around her. He holds her close. If they love each other, they are so happy, so very happy, they break down and cry." "I am too pleased to do anything so fantastic, Sally," he said. "When a child is born, no tears should be shed by its parents. I have examined the child, and I am pleased with it. Does not that content you?" "No, it doesn't!" Sally almost shrieked. "Why do you stare at your own son as if you'd never seen a baby before? He isn't a mechanical toy. He's our own darling, adorable little baby. Our child. How can you be so inhumanly calm?" He frowned and put the baby down. "There is a time for love making and a time for parenthood," he said. "Parenthood is a serious responsibility. That is where medicine comes in. Surgery. If a child is not perfect, there are emergency measures which can be taken to correct the defect." Sally's mouth went suddenly dry. "Perfect? What do you mean, Jim? Is there something wrong with Tommy?" "I don't think so," her husband said. "His grasp is firm and strong. He has good hearing, and his eyesight appears to be all that could be desired. Did you notice how his eyes followed me every moment?" "I wasn't looking at his eyes," Sally whispered, her voice tight with alarm. "Why are you trying to frighten me, Jim? If Tommy wasn't a normal, healthy baby, do you imagine for one instant they would have placed him in my arms?" "That is a very sound observation," Sally's husband said. "Truth is truth, but to alarm you at a time like this would be unnecessarily cruel." "Where does that put you?" "I simply spoke my mind as the child's father. I had to speak as I did because of my natural concern for the health of our child. Do you want me to stay and talk to you